Grounds for Discussion. I'm your host, Patty Dusing. We are coming to you from Streetside Studio 7, located inside Deja Blue in Alexandria, Minnesota. My guest today is Julie Anderson from Douglas County Emergency Management, and I am excited to have a conversation with her. I have to admit, we've been talking a little bit behind the scenes, and I am learning so many good things that I hope you guys will too. Julie, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thanks. Thank you so much for having me, Patty. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, wonderful. So tell me about Douglas County Emergency Management and what it is that you do there.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. A lot of people say when it's a beautiful day outside, they say, "What do you do?" It's emergency management, but there's no emergency to manage right now. And that is a perfectly legitimate question for any emergency manager. Obviously, when we have something that has happened, like the tornadoes that we experienced or the downtown fire, things like that, my job is to help manage the situation, right? And make sure that everybody is getting what they need. The incident commander is handling the on scene, actually putting the fire out or searching or helping to rescue people. That's not my job, but I can manage all the other pieces, making sure that Red Cross or Salvation Army or the volunteers, the media that shows up to help us cover our event. I can help with all of those details. I do a lot of rather boring planning in the background. We have a lot of different hazards, but the most rewarding aspect of this job is actually doing the preparedness component. I have a strong passion for helping people to be really prepared for any kind of emergency. And yes, I think we all know in our brains that I'm prepared, but I hope that you find something new that we can help you with.
So when you talk emergency, you cover weather,
right?
Fire, flooding.
Some amount of flooding in Douglas County. Mostly it's those flash floods.
Sure.
Right.
So let's talk about weather, since we are coming into spring and summer season.
Right. Absolutely. So our weather is unpredictable always, right? We're Minnesotans, and especially out here in western Minnesota, where we know that we have some pretty strong winds, and it can get interesting. And all of us who grew up here, I mean, I remember the Fridley tornadoes in the 60s when I was a little girl, and my dad was a police officer, and he was out working in it, and we were crouched under the cover, under the couch. My mother made us flip the couch over.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So it passed over our house. We didn't get the most severe damage, but people, many times you talk to your neighbors, you talk to your friends, right? We all have memories. I bet you do.
Oh, yes.
Some scary storm.
So I grew up in northern Minnesota, East Grand Forks, and I was probably 13, and my parents left myself and my siblings home. We lived out in the country, and my two older brothers are outside in our garage out back. They're playing with the go-kart and the three-wheeler. At the time it was a three-wheeler, and all of a sudden I realized it's really quiet.
Oh no. Yeah.
Yes, it's so quiet. So I'm looking around, and then I look to the sky, and there's a funnel. There's a funnel.
Really?
And I start yelling for the boys. They can't hear me.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And so I'm like doing this number and pointing to the sky.
Oh. And what did they do?
And they're looking at me, and then they realize, so you could see the recognition that, oh, I can't hear her. And then I'm going like this, and they looked up, and they dropped everything and ran towards the house.
Thank goodness.
And so all of us, it was my two older brothers, my younger brother, my sister, and a cousin, and we all ran for the basement.
And got there in time.
Mm-hmm.
Thank goodness.
Mm-hmm. And it never touched down, but I can tell you, I will never forget that.
None of us will. And that's what it's really all about, is to make sure that those scary events where we're seeing something, and we do have funnel clouds, and thankfully they don't all touch the ground and become a tornado, right? But if we're out and about enjoying beautiful downtown shopping and having a great day, or if we're out on the wonderful bike trails that we have in this area, we don't want to be obsessed with
right.
preparation by any means, but there are so many tools that we can use to check to say, okay, what are the forecasters saying about today? And I know sometimes they're wrong, but they're often right when it comes to the elevated risk of those severe thunderstorms and the tornadoes. They might be off a little bit on the rainfall, but again, if you're going to be away from your comfort area, your home where you know you have a basement or a safe spot, just plan ahead and think about, well, what would I do if suddenly I'm downtown Alexandria and the skies start to turn dark?
And you said it, and I thought it back when I was a kid, and I saw that funnel cloud. We didn't have smartphones.
Right.
There was no app that we could watch the weather.
Right.
It was real time, and you better move. Now we have the benefit of having technology and the apps to use.
We do. And that is wonderful. And sometimes, though, it's also thinking, okay, it's great that I'm going to get the tornado warning on my phone, but where am I going to go and what am I going to do? And so, what's really helpful is not dismissing that it's only a watch, right? If it's a tornado watch, that is your time to think to yourself, okay, I am going to maybe go out on my bike, or I'm on the boat, or I'm riding on a motorcycle. I'm putting myself in harm's way when they're telling me the conditions are right for us to have a tornado. And as business owners, I would also throw out the opportunity to say, okay, you're in a tornado watch. You know your stores are going to be full of folks on a beautiful day. You have employees. What have you told your employees about where would folks go? What if your store is packed? Do you have enough space in your basement? Do you have a good way to get everybody down there? And if you haven't, then please think it through. I work with our wonderful churches, our faith-based community all the time, and I'm still throwing out the challenge that the first one to actually practice during a service to evacuate gets a gold star in my book. And I would throw the same thing out to business owners. How long would it really take you to move 20 people downstairs, right? Some people don't move as quickly as they used to. This is what I'm talking about, planning, thinking it through. You get that horrible noise on the phone, meaning, this is bad. Okay, what's the next step?
So in talking to you behind the scenes before we jumped on, we were talking about as downtown businesses as an example, even personally in my personal life at home. I have no plan. My plan is to just react. I plan more for winter weather.
Right.
And I should be just as thoughtful about it with summer weather.
Absolutely. And some of the things I know, again, that it sounds like, repetition from when we were kids. But what did you hear in say, Asheville, North Carolina? People's biggest complaint: I don't have any water. Where's the water?
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Sure.
The internet is out. Yep, cell phone service is spotty. Well, they live in a mountain on a river, and it had been raining for days. So none of this stuff has to be expensive. Maybe you have a well. If you don't have electricity, you don't have water. Your well will not work, right? Get the Tupperware out of the cupboard when it's a tornado watch or a severe thunderstorm watch. Fill up a few Tupperware containers or something that you're going to have. You don't have to spend a lot of money. But for heaven's sakes, where are the Band-Aids? What if you're down the basement? We're all in our flip-flops and our fun shoes, right? Have an old pair of tennis shoes down there, because as they did in the Ferrada area, when you have to walk back upstairs over glass, you want sturdy shoes. This is not hard for planning. Okay, I'll throw this out to you at your home. Do you know how to turn the utilities off? Do you know how to turn them off here?
I kind of do.
Good.
Which is, Sean,
Yes.
can you help? And that's horrible. Julie,
Right.
what a conversation to have.
Right.
There's so
know how
many
to do
things,
that.
yes, that I don't think about. Having water.
Yeah.
I don't drink milk, as an example, juice, pop. My go-to is water.
Yes.
I don't know what I would do if I ran out of water. Even
And
for a
really,
day.
we say the expectation, the average person really needs to be self-reliant, prepared for 3 days, right? Because I was in our dispatch during the 2 tornadoes we had in May, and we had a lot of folks with a lot of issues. things are happening even when a tornado is happening. There's other issues in life that are also occurring. We only have so many ambulances, so many first responders. All of them are wonderful. All of them will do anything for the people of Douglas County and downtown. I've seen it, no question. But if there's power lines down in front of your neighborhood and your whole section is blocked off, no one can get to you for a while, right? So the more you can be prepared, the better off. You're going to be more comfortable. I always say in my emergency preparedness kit downstairs, I have chocolate, because who doesn't want chocolate or something in an emergency, right? So yes, it might be a little stale, but throw it in there, have it down there so that, again, you're more confident, you're more comfortable. If you have kids, some coloring books. And we had to evacuate Grand Arbor, which isn't weather related, I know, but we moved the folks successfully over to the high school while they had a gas leak. But if they would have had these little go bags that we'll talk about in a minute, but maybe with a deck of cards or some crossword book and a pencil, right, to take your mind off what's happening. These are the kinds of things that will make it a little less stressful.
So, Julie, what kind of resources do you have at your office for the general public? Do you have, like a checklist?
I do, and so, and I'm now accessible in the county courthouse, or my information's on the website to reach out to me. But part of my job is to make like little flyers that I can hand out and make accessible to people. This one is about a go bag. So, and I'll show that to you in a minute. But first of all, you have two decisions to make. You're either going to go or you're going to stay, right? So this stay kit is what we're talking about with the extra water, the 3 gallons of water per person. Think about that as something that you are in your home, your apartment, even maybe your business if you're just stuck here. That's your stay kit. All right, and we have checklists that we can get easily enough to check off. I have those available. But a go bag, maybe your home has been severely damaged or destroyed. I talked to the schools about this or others that now you do have to go. So if you have a group of people, these aren't necessarily available for large quantities of people, but I have, for example, this little I'm prepared bag, right? This is all we're talking about, and it just, it's one of those that just folds up nice and easy. This is the kind of thing, if you have to leave your home because the tornado has damaged it, and now you might be displaced for a while, right? So a little bottle of water, that same chocolate bar. But if you have life-saving prescription medicine, throw in just a couple of pills, just wrap it up in a little something, right? That's a little baggy. Again, that game, something to do, a phone charger. We always hear from people who have had to evacuate that their phone, they need the charger. If you can afford it, have an extra one of those. If you can, put an AM/FM radio in there because you're going to get a lot of local information that way. And as you age just a little bit, the other thing people tell us is a pair of cheaters, right? Sure. Because they always get to the shelter or the area away from, and sure enough, they can't see.
Right. So a little go bag.
Right. And I have those, like I said, I can do presentations to groups, small groups of people, 20, 25, if you let me know. Senior groups, I do those all the time. But would love to do them for business owners, for more churches, just for a neighborhood. We have homeowners associations. I'm available to do that and to kind of talk about what you need in those go bags. And so, again, we don't hand out the actual items. Sure. But we can do giveaways. If you have a gathering, we might be able to get a flashlight or two to give away.
So 2 things. One, I know I'm going to take you up on that. I think this is a great idea. Like I mentioned, I am very much winter weather observant. Keep my employees home if there's inclement weather. Don't drive in. We'll take care of it. I haven't given much, even though we've been at the trap shoot.
Oh, sure.
With our mobile.
Absolutely, you are out there.
And weather has been crazy. I actually found a video on my phone last year with that heavy rain.
Yes.
I've never thought about planning for that.
Well, let's do it.
And I need to. So I'm going to gather some local businesses particularly on this side of the block, so that we can work together to identify
Great.
a
A
shelter,
location that's down a
go
basement.
bag. The one thing we talked about off camera was purse and a wallet.
Yes.
Because when you're
Yes.
in that state of, oh my gosh, hurry up and get to a safe space.
Right. And we found that in May as well. So, again, during that watch, again, normally there will be some amount of pre warning, right? So, we're not talking about looking for a purse in a fire. Don't ever misunderstand that. But as you get ready for severe weather, yes, have your purse or your wallet if it's summertime and you're in your shorts and flip flops and maybe don't have your wallet or your identification. When you go to your safe space, the basement or that interior room with no windows, have your purse or your wallet. We had folks that came upstairs after the tornadoes in May and they didn't have credit cards or ID. They had nothing because unfortunately their whole world was destroyed upstairs. So please, I hadn't even thought about it to always bring your purse or your wallet.
Sure. So you talked about May. That was 2 years ago.
2022.
2020.
Yep, coming up on
2022. Oh my
3
gosh.
years.
3 years. Was there warnings on the apps for that day?
There was. We were an elevated risk that day. I believe it was 4 out of 5 by the National Weather Service. And I really do believe that saved a lot of lives. People did pay attention to that. And for that, we are really grateful. And so that's the kind of thing when you're in that elevated risk is when you absolutely, if your son or daughter has a ball game or a recital or you have some sort of an event, don't push it to the last minute to try to drive home. Really take it seriously. We had so many people that have told me stories. They were driving down the road and the power lines were falling and the trees
Gosh.
and the debris. And it's something they will never forget. And so let's learn from them because that's why they share their stories with me is so that I can tell other people that this happened.
And to heed the
regret,
warning.
right?
Yeah.
They regret saying, "Well, I think I can make it to the end of whatever event they're at." And so, because it's pretty easy, if lightning's approaching, they cancel ball games. I mean, some of it is a no-brainer. But in that watch phase, let's be honest, a lot of people wanna finish what is happening. And we have all these great events that the National Weather Service does help me with. We get special forecasting from them, and we try to work as much as we can with the coordinators of those events that I try to reach out to. I don't get to all of them, but yes, it's look at your phone, good old fashioned, and this is young people that stream on those various platforms. You're not going to get the local forecast on those. You have to know how to work a regular AM/FM battery operated radio, which you know how to use, right?
I think so.
Yeah, but maybe you
It's been a while.
Yes,
Yeah, so a
you need to get
refresher.
one. Yeah,
It's good too.
right. How do you dial in? In our case, we have wonderful local radio stations, but do you know how to find them on the dial? Right?
Right.
And if you don't, now is the time. Don't wait until the storm warning.
Yeah. So many things are going through my head. One thing we touched on was the different events that happen in Douglas County. As an example, me being right here, right in downtown, we have the band festival
Right.
that happens. Are you guys watching ahead of time? The weather and planning?
Absolutely, and the fire chief, Jeff Caro in Alexandria, is the city emergency manager, and he and I work very closely together. I work with law enforcement, our dispatchers, and city clerks, and many others, so it's not just me. But we're all keeping an eye out, and that's where, if you're having a big event, I try to keep a calendar of the street dances and everything going on, but don't ever hesitate to reach out and say, hey, did you know that we're doing this in our city? Because I might not be aware, because we really do want to have the best knowledge that we can. We've been really fortunate with that band festival, and we've been fortunate overall with some of these big events. But I'm also going to be doing a presentation, I can do it for senior groups, about how to prepare yourself for what you would do if you get caught at one of these big events and any kind of emergency situation arises. And part of it is that same sort of preparedness bag concept, that you just want to make sure that you have what you need. Again, it seems silly, but those cheaters, things like that, that if suddenly you have to evacuate quickly, you're not caught off guard.
Right. And someone that is on, as an example, blood pressure medication.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, if I didn't have that for 3 days,
Right.
I would be in trouble.
Exactly.
So very important. Good things to get out to the community to make sure, even if it's in your mind, have a plan.
Right. And, one of the things too that is something that I'm really, really stressing for business owners, again, just residents and all of us, is called preparedness pals. So I would encourage you to have a preparedness pal, which isn't necessarily your husband, right? It's somebody who lives, because he might not always be here. And think of it as, okay, I live in this part of the city or county. Okay, so if something were to happen, a tornado hits our area, or heaven forbid, a tanker truck overturns and there's hazardous material spill or something, pipeline issue, and now I have to leave my home for a little while, right? Yes, we will, if it's big enough incident, have a Red Cross shelter that will be activated, or we'll do a local version of a shelter. Absolutely. Train derails, absolutely, if we have a lot of displaced people. But if you have a friend, if you have somebody that you can go to their home. I'm calling you at 2 a.m. because I need to leave my home for a while. So me and my dog and my cat, or whatever it is, right? That's the deal. That's the agreement, that you are then going to go over to their home and be on their living room sofa or what have you for a few hours. So have that in place. And it's also because then that person will be the one person you contact to say, I'm okay or I'm not okay. The less we can be on our cell phones calling so many people and wondering who's where. I can't find my mom. Well, if your mom has that one preparedness pal that and they have their numbers written on a piece of paper, because what if your cell phone, again, batteries have gone. So that whole preparedness pal concept, sharing phone numbers and contacts, right? Again, maybe you don't have a basement, but your preparedness pal does. Simple, right? In that watch phase, when you have time, it's a great reason to get together and have a cup of coffee and again, I'll go back to my chocolate. So I'm coming over, probably isn't going to be anything bad, but it gives us a good reason to spend an hour together as we wait out to see if the storm's going to hit us.
Julie, how long have you worked for Douglas County Emergency Management?
So this will be my 7th year full time, and gosh, yeah, time has gone by, but yes, so it was a second career for me.
What was your first career? I am very, very curious.
So I was a journalist for my original career, and I started right here at KCMT TV in Alexandria. Right out of college, came here and produced the 6 and 10 o'clock news back in the day with John Freud and Sally Baltus, Jim Rohn, a few names from the past, and managed to work in that career for more than 20 years.
Did you leave Alexandria at some point?
I did. I ended up going up to Duluth and Green Bay, where I worked as a reporter and did a number of stories that are pretty memorable to me. One, in fact, was helping a young man convicted in a murder that he didn't commit, and we were able to get him a new trial, and he was found not guilty once they had some of the actual evidence came into the courtroom. So that was quite memorable. Then I worked in investigative units.
Oh my gosh, Julie.
In the Twin Cities I started at WCCO and worked at the KSDP and the Fox 9 investigators. Always moving for a good reason. They're wonderful people. And we did stories that were helpful to people. There was a lot of stories that did make a difference. One I called Fighting for a Smile. Back, veterans were having their teeth pulled for heart surgeries and being promised dentures quickly. And there was a little bit of a delay, so we were able to help some veterans get their dentures more quickly. So, yeah. I enjoyed it very much.
That's fascinating. You were doing what sometimes I look back and think, I think I would have enjoyed that. Very much into the community.
Right.
Very much a people person, I think.
Absolutely. I always have enjoyed helping other people. Part of my job, though, as an investigative journalist, was to sometimes find the shortcomings, if you will, of government. And so after a while, that too gets to be just a little bit tiring, that you're always looking for something that's not working.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I had the opportunity to change careers, I went to work for the Department of Public Safety and ended up with Homeland Security and Emergency Management, which is how I earned my emergency management certification and learned all about it. I decided I wanted to spend the rest of my career showcasing the good of government and how we really can help people, and often help people help themselves.
Mm-hmm. So as I've gotten to know you a little more, even sitting here, you have a genuine passion and concern for folks in your community.
Absolutely. And people have been very welcoming and very receptive to me as well. But I want us all to be safer and more confident in our abilities to look after one another. I'll tell you, when we had that downtown fire, we had businesses bringing us food so quickly. There are the best people in this area.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do look after each other. And that is how it works. That, again, those first 3 days, a lot of times it is neighbor helping neighbor and family helping family, or church members. Oh my gosh, the outpouring that I saw down. And again, Freda got a lot of the attention because it was concentrated, but those 2 tornadoes caused damage all across Douglas County. And we worked really hard. We had a long-term recovery committee. We ended up many months later hearing from a gentleman. We had secured a little bit of funding that had come in, and again, businesses were very generous. But he lived up in the northeast corner of our county. Had not been aware of him at all, and he finally called and he goes, "Well, my windows were all blown out, and I'm still trying to replace them all."
Oh no.
So we were finally able to help him. And that, I'm like, how did we not know
Right.
that you were out there?
Right.
And so, again, that was through a private donation that we were able to help him with his windows.
That is so good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you are here,
Oh,
and
thank
I
you.
hope that we can spread awareness and make people more aware of who you are, where you are, what you do. I did a little research today in anticipation of sitting with you, and super easy to find. I just popped on the internet and searched Douglas County Emergency Management, Alex, Minnesota, and there you were. Phone number, website. Your
Right.
name is listed as the director, so easy to find. We just have to know that they're there,
Thank
that
you.
she's there, and she's very willing to help you.
Absolutely. Call me, email me during business hours. Stop in. I'm not always in my office in the courthouse, but absolutely. And thank you for sharing that, because you do have to search our website. Sometimes it's not always easy to go through all the steps, but yes, if you just put in Douglas County Emergency Management, it will pop up.
What are your hours, Julie? Your office hours?
Usually 8 to 4:30. Again, I'm off doing various trainings sometimes, so I'm not always there. It's best to call in advance, but there are many days I'm there most of the time.
Sure. I'm excited about your trainings because I am genuinely going to, and most definitely going to, get a group of businesses together. And maybe, have you talked at Downtown Merchants Association?
I haven't yet, so I really would love an opportunity to do that. That'd be great.
Right, because I think if we, and maybe you would be the expert, the one to answer this question, as I'm thinking about preparedness and what I should do and should have done as a business owner. I feel it's an obligation and responsibility to even plan for summer events, which I haven't. But I'm thinking, get a few businesses on this side of Broadway and then have businesses over there work together and on the 500 block. What are
Wouldn't
your
that
thoughts?
be wonderful?
Yeah.
Yes, to say, where would we have people go who has a basement that's accessible, that's not full of so much stuff that it's not able to serve as any kind of temporary storm shelter. But right, coming together, I know we can do it. I know we can do it. Right. So if you get the businesses in small enough areas to all come together, because gosh, it's just something that anyone that has that plan that could say, hey, come on over here, and let's all get down here. We'll all be better off, and get the folks who live upstairs to be able to take some shelter, and you'll save lives. We just really will.
It can
And
turn quickly.
it can, and just providing that, again, sense of calm and confidence to say, yes, we business owners here have a plan.
Right.
One of our deputies, she shared with me a concept that I've always appreciated, that our bodies can't go where our minds haven't been. So think that through. If my mind has said, okay, if this happens, I know where I'm going to go. Then when you need to do it, your body will go. If you haven't thought about it at all.
Right.
I mean, I am a little bit over the top with the preparedness thing, but when I go to some of these big events, or if it's indoors and I'm sitting somewhere a ways away from the exit, or it's one of those real crowded places, I have to think to myself, okay, how am I going to get out of here?
What's your strategy?
Right.
Yes.
If in fact something happens and I have to get to that door. And so that's all I'm asking people. It really doesn't take any time. Most of the items that we're asking folks as business owners, have a written list of your employees. Yes, it takes a little bit of time, but it's a piece of paper and a pencil, right? But you will be so grateful that you have that written down, so you can think to yourself, okay, do I know where so-and-so is? Yes, it's mostly who doesn't have a few Band-Aids, right?
Right.
And if you don't have a flashlight, they're not all that expensive. Yes, you have to keep the batteries up. And again, our local radio stations, they have promised me I have their 24/7 contact. I trust them completely. That if we then get on, if something bad happens, we're not the National Weather Service. We do not issue the warnings or the watches. But if we had a bigger shelter that was set up for people, or we knew there was, the Salvation Army was having food available, we will be in contact with those radio stations. When we had the situation, and again in the Ferreta area, we just put big whiteboards up, and it wasn't my idea. It was one of the assistant fire chiefs, and we just nailed them into a stake into the ground. And each day, 2 or 3 times a day, we would go put where things were going to be. I'm guessing our businesses with the digital billboards would be more than happy to share some of that information. But this is what we need to plan for. So with your help, that'd be great.
We are all over it. We're definitely going to work on getting that planned. We'll have a little event upstairs where you come and speak to several business owners. I know I can rally the troops.
Wonderful.
For sure. So I'm looking forward to that. One other question I had is, how long has the office been around?
Oh gosh, a very, very long time. It used to be the civil defense. If you go over to the courthouse, there's still, I think, called the bomb shelter.
Oh, sure.
So Catherine LeBrasser, back in the day, used to put together the kits, the coffee cans with the candles.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, sure. Oh, yes. So decades and decades.
Interesting.
I'm just one in a long line of emergency
Sure.
preparedness and emergency managers.
Would that office then, and as we were talking, I thought about, you mentioned that chaos can ensue when there's a situation that's happening, whether it's weather related or what occurred to me was 9/11. Did your office at the time get involved with 9/11?
So I'm sure they did. I wasn't in this role during that time, but that is absolutely something that we prepare for. We hate to think about that kind of a thing, but there's businesses that house certain levels of explosive and hazardous materials. So my job is, again, working with those in the individual cities and the business owners themselves. We are required to compile a list. They send us updated information on those hazards and chemicals. We have a way to chart and do plume modeling on wind direction. So we do a lot of behind the scenes planning for all hazards, we call them, all
Sure.
these events we have. And I ask people too that if look around. My husband, who I sometimes throw under the bus, we moved here and we happen to have a pipeline right across the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was having a conversation, oh, we don't have a pipeline near us. And I'm like, honey, look across the road. See that stake? So please, again, know your neighborhood, know your surroundings. What is by you? Do you have a pipeline nearby? What pipeline? And, our job is to know what product and all of that, but just be a little more aware. If you live by the railroad tracks, right? Yes, we have a plan, but think to yourself that same concept of having that go bag, right? I've gone up and down to those blue signs with those rail crossing numbers. That is what the Canadian Pacific, they're in Canada when we call. It's very helpful to have that blue number. And so there's many things we can't go on and on, but I can help you. So again, look around. Where do you work? Where do you live? And what could go wrong?
What a resource we have in you and your office. I am so glad we've gotten the opportunity to talk. I've learned so much from you. I'm excited to have you come back.
Great.
And plan a little presentation for some of our business owners. And with that, Julie, thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you. I truly appreciate the opportunity.
That's wonderful. So thank you guys for joining us here on the Grounds for Discussion podcast. Come back later this week, and we'll have the episode out on YouTube. Again, I'm coming to you from Streetside Studio 7, located inside Deja Blue House of Coffee in wonderful downtown Alexandria, Minnesota.